Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA Veteran Drew McFedries. Drew, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Drew, you got a fight coming up September 21st at Titan FC 25. How's training been going for the fight?
I think everything has its ups and downs. Training right now isn't what it used to be for me, but I'm getting it. I'm getting the job done. I'm getting in the gym, and I just got done actually with a pretty rough sparring night. My sparring partner is about 260, so as good as that can go. I guess that's as good as it gets.
You said training isn't what it used to be. What do you mean by that?
Just the numbers are depleted. We used to have a lot of solid 185-pound, 205-pound fighters. I guess if I could name a few, Robbie Waller has recently moved back to town, but he's not much for sparring. We used to have Robbie Waller, guys like Rory Markham around, myself, Ryan McGiver, Robbie, Mike says Miletich, even up in some of the heavyweights that were good to have around, Justin Eilers, we used to just have more numbers and more guys to mix it up with. Now there's less numbers. Not to say that these guys are bad, it's just, you can only beat up so many guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Is Pat Miletich, is he coaching you, or is there someone else who's working with you?
Honestly, there's a lot of road fighters out there these days. Pat himself has not been in the gym. I haven't seen him in some time over the last 2 years. I haven't seen him often. And every now and then I think he makes a guest appearance, and I don't know. That's whatever he wants to do, that's his business. But no, I haven't seen him in the gym often.
Drew, your opponent is going to be Zak Cummings. What are your thoughts about him?
From what I've seen, he looks to be a very tough grinder type fighter. He gets after it. I guess my only fear, fighting guys like that is, they get one up on you and they don't stop, and there's nothing you can do to beat a guy who's got one leg up on you and you just won't quit. So, I guess that's my only fear, fighting a guy like that. But fight to fight too. I'm gonna do my best, obviously, to win. I'm sure he's gonna do the same.
How much do you know about him? Do you just know of him from film that you've studied? Have you ever heard of him before? How much do you know about him?
I really never even heard of him until his name came up as an opponent. And I looked him up, and just watched a little bit of film on him, and I think at this point, even if you look at our records are pretty much, fairly close as far as how many fights we have and things like that. I think he actually has less losses than me,
Right.
We're about neck and neck. We're right in the same ballpark, so I think it's a matchup, It's a fairly close matchup, actually.
Drew, 8 of your 10 wins have come by knockout. Zak Cummings has never been knocked out. How much would you like to be the first guy to knock him out, or is it just one of those things where if the knockout comes, it comes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, and you just want to go in this fight and get a win?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are just lucky to get away with the W. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. As far as guys who have never been knocked out, I fought a lot of those guys. And obviously, if I won the fight, I usually knocked them out. I don't know. I don't give any credit to anybody who's been knocked out or not. So, again, I'll take the fight as it comes, and I'll play everything, as smoothly as possible. If I get a knockout, great. If not, I'm going to look mainly to take it the distance. I really would rather, go get more of a distance and show more skill. But, whatever it comes to, that's what it comes to.
The last time you fought for Titan, you fought Gary Tapasua. I gotta ask you, what were you doing in, I think it was the second round, maybe the third round, when you were kind of doing something where you look into the crowd and then you'd attack? What exactly was that, and could we see that return?
Honestly, that's something that started a long time ago. And it just, It is something, I'll joke around in the gym and I practice stuff like that on guys when I'm sparring and joking around. But I learned to take that to the ring with me because it kind of gives me a comfortability, like a kind of a pillow there. It's comfortable and it makes me kind of gives me that gym feel again instead of me being in the ring, I guess. I gotta attribute, I guess, if there's a guy I can attribute it to, is Matt Pena. He used to be my boxing coach before he moved away from Iowa, but he works with Robbie Lawler and Matt Hughes and a lot of those guys. We used to joke around in the gym, and I'd sometimes do something like that to throw him off. I'd throw a punch at him, not to hurt him, but just jokingly. And it's something I've taken into the ring that it just helps you to remember that there was a day where we didn't get paid to do this.
Right.
We used to joke around and have fun. And now it's so damn serious. Everything is so serious, and I guess for me, it's just like I said, it's something I'll do. If I feel like I'm ahead and I want to play around a little bit, I might do that. But it's not often. To be a professional, you don't want to show your ass too much and then get and then lose the fight.
Right.
Then you look like a real idiot.
Right. Yeah, I'm
not looking to try to do it, but if it happens, I might play around a little bit.
Yeah, I just thought that was a strange technique, and it was working. So I take my hat off to you. That was pretty good.
Well, it only works if you can make a guy fear your power. Yeah, you can pull some little shake and bake stuff off, but if a guy does not fear you whatsoever, and you look the other way, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get cracked.
Yeah.
And to his credit, Gary, he dropped me in that match.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
I moved, I bopped instead of weaved, and he cracked me, and you know what? He sat me down on my butt for a second there, so that's just to let everybody know, I looked off in the crowd, and I played around with him a little bit, but you know what? It gets real serious when a guy puts you on your butt, and now you're in danger of losing a match. Now you're not going to play around so much.
Right. Drew, you haven't fought in over a year. What has been the holdup? Why have we not seen you fight that much? Is it you're not getting offers to fight? You have injuries? What's going on?
Well, you did bring up Gary. One of the things was, Gary broke my arm. I returned actually a little early to fight. I think it was Eric Olson, fought him in Hawaii. That was kind of an early return for me. And more or less, I needed the money. It's not like I had to take the fight, but I had to get things rolling, or else I would have been in more of a tight spot. So I just decided to go forward with it, and I did it. I won the match, and I moved on past that. My arm was great, but the start of things was, we had fights lined up, opponents dropped out, shows got canceled. Moreover, if I can emphasize anything, if I can get any point across to anyone out there, I have no support. I have no sponsors. I've had trouble doing anything in the MMA world or otherwise as far as sponsors or people following me or people backing my training. I do not live a $1 million lifestyle. My bills are very, very low, so to speak, and compared to some other characters that are, mainstream or have a name. And I find myself having to work and having to get extra jobs and do side jobs and things like that to keep my training going. And honestly, if you want to see Drew McFedries in the future, I'm going to need that support. I really don't have anybody throwing me any gear. All my gear is about 3 years old. Basically, since I left the UFC, everybody's dropped me and could really care less, I think, to see me fight again or not.
Is that what you've been able to point the finger to? The reason why that you're not getting sponsorship and support is because you fought long layoff, and you've kind of been in and out of the sport for a little while now. Do you think that's possibly the reason?
Yeah, it's a big reason. It can freeze everything. I mean, it's just like somebody, if they seize, like if the police seize your assets, you can't pay your bills, you can't go out to eat, you can't put gas in your car, you can't do anything. I mean, that's where I'm at, where, month to month I've been struggling and trying to get to the next match, trying to pay the bills and trying to get in the gym and juggling every month to month. How can I get to the gym, and how do I get to work? How do I make some extra money? And I've barely been able to keep my nose above water. And really, the truth of the matter is that, if these are things I'm going to have to do, I'd rather just get a job and, have some steady income rather than fight. I mean, I guess that's the only message I can send is this: if you want to see me fight, you got to support your fighter, whoever that is.
Right.
So, management is another thing. I don't know, but, maybe it's possible management could be one way to look at things. I mean, my manager is Monty Cox, and I've stuck with him for years and years and years, and I think that if I'm going to leave my manager, there's no business for me to be in the sport. I don't know. He's the guy I came in with. He's probably the guy I'm going to go out with. So if I have to leave the sport or leave my manager, I'm done with the sport. Unless there's some kind of bad blood, which there's never really been.
Were you surprised when Titan called? Because, you fought good for them at Titan 16, and then they never brought you back. Were you surprised that they would bring you back and then put you in the main event?
No, they're just making business decisions. That's on them. Every organization is different in how they work. I did have a little falling out with them, over my arm because I broke my arm, and we kind of had some discrepancies back and forth about who should pay for it, who should pay for what, why. And my personal belief is if I'm fighting in the organization, somebody hurts me, you pay for it. That's all I do.
Like I said, the year layoff, going into this fight, is there any worry about ring rust at all?
Yeah, but at this point in my career, if you want to call it that, God, a fight's a fight anymore almost. It's like a handshake, I really don't have a whole lot of worry about a fight. To me, I fight with guys, just tonight, there's guys throwing full speed shots at me tonight. I'll go home, eat a sandwich, and do it again tomorrow. So, no, I don't really have a lot of worry about it, but yeah, everybody gets the jitters, I think. I think if you're not a little nervous, there's something wrong with you.
You were supposed to have a fight back in June for BXC. You were supposed to fight Brad Johnson. What happened with that fight?
Basically, I'll say that these guys, they were fronting the show. As far as I know, the guy who was promoting it, maybe he ran off with the money or whatever. I really don't know what specifically was going on, but I'll say I never met the promoter himself. I know that he got himself into some legal trouble. As far as finding opponents and whatever else, that I don't call those shots. So, if you call me to fight, you fly me out, and I'm ready to go, and I don't fight. I get my show and I go home. I don't know what else happened. I don't know. I don't even remember meeting my opponent. I don't think they even flew him out.
I remember that Sara McMann, who also is managed by Monty Cox, she was supposed to be on that card, and I think Rory Markham was supposed to be on that card. So they flew you out there. Did they try to get you a replacement opponent, or was it just you found out they didn't have any money and you decided not to fight on that night? What exactly happened?
Absolutely not. I was ready. I've been ready for a long time to fight. Previous to that match, I had been training. I was ready to go no matter what. They tried to get some guys that they had flown in to fight me, kind of switch opponents, because I know one thing that happened was Rory Markham, he didn't show, so they were going to have his opponent fight me. His opponent didn't want to fight me. They couldn't find anyone else. And these are the things I've gone through time and time again in the last year. didn't happen. It was all last-second stuff. It just didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, personally, I mean, the way I see it, I think a lot of these guys got themselves into financial trouble, and they buried the show.
Drew, how important is this fight on September 21st? You know, win or lose. You know, if you don't get some support, you said that you'd consider walking away from the sport. Just how big is this fight going to be for you?
Gosh, I don't really know how to answer that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I guess everything's come full circle. I feel as if I'm kind of back to the beginning of when I first started fighting, and I'm talking maybe 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people forget who I am, and that doesn't bother me. I think I get to walk down the street a little more freely these days, but I really do feel like it's gone full circle. I remember days where, you know, I walked up to, you know, the Lake Mask at a show, and I said, you know, I'm Drew McFedries. I train out of MFS in Bettendorf, Iowa. Would you guys consider sponsoring me? He looked me dead in the eye and said, no, and walked right away.
Ooh.
And I mean, that's how I feel right now. I mean, but later, that same guy approached me with the best deal I ever got in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I gotta say that he did, you know, he kind of revamped, you know, my belief in MMA and things like that. I will say that that's where I'm at. I gotta say that if nobody wants to support me, that's fine. I see where I'm at, and it's time for me to step away. There's no reason behind me, you know, fighting till I'm 45 for a couple bucks a week or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, gosh, I don't know. I mean, as far as how big this fight is for me, every guy goes into a fight wanting to win, and I'm definitely not the kind of guy that steps in the ring and goes, oh, well, let's see if I can stretch this out, and, you know,
Right,
let's
right.
see if I can work my jab.
Right.
You know, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to fight, but it's another fight to me. Fights, if it was my first fight in the UFC or my first amateur fight, they're all big fights to me. And I think anybody who knows me knows that I fought them all the same. So I'm going to fight just as hard to get the win as anyone else would. I just can't say it's going to be significant in any way, shape, or form, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Drew, I usually always end the interviews with sponsors, but you said that you don't have anyone sponsoring for this fight. But is there anything that you'd like to say to the fans out there?
You know, I got to say, I've had some really great fans. You know, a lot of people have really, you know, kind of lifted my spirits in the times when I was down. And this is definitely one of those times where, you know, sometimes I get that old shoebox out, you know, with the letters in it. And, you know, I had a kid write me a letter that, man, I mean, sometimes, you know, a fan can just really grab you. And this kid, you know, he said, you know, long live Drew McFedries at the end of his letter. And, I mean, he grabbed me. I mean, he almost had me in tears. And I got to say, to, you know, kids like that, you know, I really appreciate it. It's something that keeps me going. You know, every now and then I'll get a guy or a girl, you know, who hates me or whatever. And I think that just comes with the territory. Besides the point, no, I think I've had a great fan base, and, you know, for the most part, a lot of good cheers, and, you know, people are always amped to see me fight, but it's just too bad that in this situation I don't have the monetary backing. You know, it sucks, but without that, I can't continue because, you know, I'm not 20 years old anymore. I'm not a kid anymore who, you know, can live off a pizza and a beer, you know.
Right.
And train for 6 hours.
Right.
So yeah, I gotta say, you know, the fans have been great, and I've had some great experiences in MMA. I've been able to train with a lot of great fighters, and that's all been great. But, you know, at this point, I'm just gonna take it fight for fight and see where it takes me. I guess at this point, I feel like I've done about all I could do, and if I have to step away from the sport, it's too bad, but that's what'll happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, Drew, we hope you don't step away. You know, I enjoy watching you fight. Thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck September 21st at Titan FC 25 against Zak Cummings.